know I'll be using the method for many, many years to come, not just for me, but for my family.
Hi there, I'm Jac Vidgen. I'm a senior practitioner of Buteyko's method. I was first introduced to Dr. Buteyko's work back in the early 90s in Sydney, Australia, by Mr. Christopher Drake, who has actually created and developed Learn Buteyko Online. Back then, Christopher introduced me to a Russian gentleman called Alexander Sasha Stalmatsky. He was a leading protege of Dr. Buteyko. Together, they created Buteyko Australia, which was the first organization really to pioneer the method outside of Russia. So I joined them in those early days in a promotional sense and administrative. But after a few years of working with them and assisting them both, I started teaching the method myself, under their guidance, of course, because training to teach this method is a rather long-term process. As things moved on, Christopher then introduced the method to the UK, Ireland, Europe, and the USA, while I was the first one to introduce the method to Asia. I've recently joined Learn Buteyko Online, as it's clearly the most reliable organization teaching the method worldwide at this time. With me is Bong De Ungria. Bong is one of my students. He learned the method in a workshop here in Manila around 4 years ago, almost. He's an athlete as a hobby, and Buteyko has been a huge benefit to him in that area. But actually, he didn't come for that reason. Thanks very much for being here, Bong. And maybe you'd like to say why you originally came and how it developed.
4 years ago, I was the head of a big company here in Manila, and that was good, but I was in very, very poor health. And I saw how bad health affected my mother and my father, and I promised to myself I'd avoid that similar situation. But after so many years of procrastinating and not going to the workshop, I finally did it. And to my surprise, in the first 2 weeks of the workshop, my sleep apnea was cured. I didn't have to wear the CPAP machine, which I've been using for 7 years. And in 2 weeks in the workshop, I was able to take it out and saw the immediate benefits health-wise.
Been actually diagnosed with sleep apnea for at least 7 years. And using a machine every night to sleep.
Not a pleasant experience.
So firstly, the sleep apnea was reversed, and after a while stopped snoring and had a more peaceful sleep.
More peaceful sleep, better day, more active in meetings. And that was the thing I was afraid of. I was the head of a company, and it's not good to look sleepy and tired.
Falling asleep in meetings, definitely not a good look.
Yeah.
And then you had started to develop, as many people with sleep apnea do, some heart disease. You had hypertension, and you were taking medicine for some years, a few years.
About 7 years too. I was taking daily medication.
Okay.
And after doing Buteyko for a year, I did try a new diet that worked for me. I lost 50 pounds.
Yeah, when I met Bong and he told me his diet, I thought, wow, he's going to have a lot of trouble controlling his breathing with that kind of diet. And it became a turning point for you in that you could adapt to a new diet which worked you and served with your breathing better.
Yes, having a good foundation of proper breathing, more mindful breathing. The diet was easy to do.
Yeah.
And I lost 50 pounds in about 5 months. And after that, I decided to do something different. So from out of the blue, I decided to run a marathon in 100 days.
So you decided to run a marathon in 100 days. Okay. So you hadn't run a marathon before. You had done some running, but you'd never run a marathon.
Never a marathon. And my last run before I made the decision was 31 years ago.
Oh, you stopped running 31 years ago. Wow. And so Buteyko enabled you to even take the consideration of running a marathon, and you achieved it.
Yeah, and I achieved it at 51 years old. So
you started Buteyko at around 47.
Yes.
Okay, and this was a man who was, as I said, considerably overweight, eating very badly, exercising, and yet still having considerable number of health concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, learning the basic method at that point, which was the beginner's workshop, he was able to start to turn his life around quite significantly. Yeah?
Yep. And I was happy that there's a system that could help me through this transformation. I was able to ask questions specific to my training. And fortunately, Jack was also here. We worked out in the gym a couple of times. He still found some things which I wasn't doing right. And because of all those advice, again, I was able to achieve the 100-day marathon.
Well, originally, you came to fix a few symptoms. And then discovering Learn Buteyko online and the wonderful structure that it offers people in terms of follow-up and support, the intermediate workshop and advanced workshops for those who are more serious and want to improve further. And then individual practitioners such as myself are available for consultation and guidance in whatever projects you're involved in. Bong didn't come along because he wanted to improve his running. But as it turned out, he was able to start running again. And that's changed your life, and even your personal life has changed.
Yes. Because now I have more energy, I'm clearly in so much better health.
I think your relationship with your family is improved, you said.
Yeah, if you breathe right, then you can think right.
Well, we breathe 26,000 times a day, and frankly, it manages our body and our mind. So if our breathing is more optimal, one would expect the functioning of the body and mind to be more efficient. Having taught the method myself for the last 22 years and practiced it myself, it certainly made an enormous difference to my life. I personally had allergic rhinitis for 40 years and runny nose and clogged nose and sneezing and hay fever. And I was able to reverse my allergic rhinitis and then sleep less and more efficiently and remain slim.
How old are you now, Jack?
I'm 67 now, and actually I do more physical exercise than I ever did in my life.
When I finished high school 35 years ago, I was number one as far as mental. So I was valedictorian in my class.
Okay.
We recently had a reunion. I was not the smartest anymore. I was the fittest. So
practicing Buteyko is not always easy. It's not that complicated, but it is quite hard work, right?
But once you do it, once you actually look for it, I cannot run now with the wrong breathing. I have to keep my mouth closed.
There's no going back.
There's no going back because you know the difference.
And when you run 42 kilometers with the mouth closed efficiently, something's going right. To effectively integrate this method into your daily life and to be able to continue improving your results and developing more solutions to more health concerns that you maybe even didn't know you had over time, students really do need to keep in touch. And they need an organization like Learn Buteyko Online that allows them all sorts of access. Sometimes there's free follow-up sessions for past students, and then there's advanced course and intermediate courses. Lots of options for people. As you continue to practice Buteyko, things unfold, and one can see always an opportunity to improve health and well-being. Bong, thank you very much for sharing about your experience of Buteyko.
No, thank you, Buteyko. Thank you, Jack, for the system.
And what a privilege it is as a Buteyko teacher to be able to see a student 4 years later beaming and booming along, not only in his work and his family life, but also in his sporting life.